Good evening, interwebs. I just got in the door from Slipknot, Marilyn Manson, and Of Mice and Men. It's about 11:45 at night. I got to be up at 5:45 in the morning for work, clock in at 6:45. So tomorrow's going to be a rough one. But anyways, like I just said, I just got in the door from Slipknot, Marilyn Manson, and Of Mice and Men, so I wanted to give you some thoughts. This is my second show of the summer. I saw Jiffy Lube live tonight on the 26th of July, 2016. The performers were obviously Of Mice and Men came first, followed by Marilyn Manson, who was then followed by Slipknot. And it was a really hot night. I mean, I got really lucky. I had really awesome seats, so I was under the pavilion. But I mean, the people on the lawn were probably roasting. So the show, I'll just give some quick thoughts, my initial takeaways. First and foremost, my ears are still ringing. This is my second time. That was my second time seeing Slipknot. I saw them on Summer's Last Stand tour last year with Lamb of God, and that was an awesome show. I really loved it, and that was really when I was really, not necessarily just finding out about Slipknot, but when I was really first infatuated with the band. Now I've been listening to them for a long time, so it was like I knew the songs by heart, and it was I knew more of what to expect. So anyways, I'll go band by band. So first, Of Mice and Men. They started off the show at about 6:30. Yeah, 6:30. They played for a bit. I think they played for about a half hour. Now, I'm not too familiar with the Mice and Men. I know a few of their songs, but in general, I just haven't really listened to them. I just haven't. Not that I don't like their music or anything. I just haven't gotten a chance to listen to them. But my initial takeaways from their set is they sounded pretty good. I was impressed. You know, they sounded a lot better live than I've heard them in the studio on the few songs I've heard from them. And I was impressed, you know. I was initially a little kind of weary, you know, why Slipknot would take them out, you know, because, I mean, not a diss on Mice and Men, Of Mice and Men, but, you know, you wouldn't think Of Mice and Men would open for Slipknot. And so I was initially a little weary of that. But they sounded pretty good. They were a really good warm-up band. They sounded good. They were solid. My only issues with them were just two things. Number one is that after a little bit, just as someone who doesn't really know the songs, I won't say they sounded the same, but they did sound kind of similar. Like there wasn't a whole lot of diversity in what they were playing. And the other thing is that as an opening band, you know, you really want to be like a warm-up band, and they really didn't talk between songs or anything. They didn't really say who they were. You know, they said, hey, we're Mice and Men from blah, 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 blah. You know, it's good to be here. But that's really about it. You know, maybe they were just trying to max out the time that they were on stage, you know, so. But, I mean, aside from that, I thought they sounded pretty good, and I was impressed. Would I drive hours to see them? Probably not, but for a band that was just there and opened up, I was impressed, and it was good. So, anyways, Manson came on next, Marilyn Manson, and my relationship with Manson's music is kind of like how it is with, the Mice and Men. I'm familiar with it. I'm obviously familiar with Marilyn Manson. He's a really polarizing figure, and he exceeded my expectations by a lot. I'll be honest. I walked in with pretty low expectations because I've seen some of his live videos and he just didn't sound good. He didn't really sound like he had it anymore, couldn't really bring it. And yes, while he's not a great live singer anymore, while he's not a perfect live singer, I think that kind of contributes to the overall show. Like, it's one of those, I won't say he sounded bad, but it's one of those things where, you know, their imperfection, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Their imperfection makes the performance better. If that's what I'm trying to get at. And what was amazing about Manson's performance was that, first and foremost, the music had energy, and he got the crowd pumped, you know. People were stoked, which was amazing. And also, I mean, he was just straight nuts. He was insane. He would go out of his way to do these ridiculous things. And I understand that's his shtick, that's what he's supposed to do, but I mean, I'll tell you some of the things I saw. Number one, he took off his pants on stage. He took off his pants. He flared himself. Number two, he would dump out beer bottles on stage. After every song, he'd get another beer bottle, and he would just dump it out, right next to him, after every song. He would switch microphones after every song, and one of the microphones had a knife on it. Those same beer bottles that he was dumping out on stage, he threw one of them, broke it, and then proceeded to stab himself in the face with the broken glass from it. And what else? He walked on stilts. And got out in the crowd a little bit, which was awesome. But yeah, I mean, that was amazing. It was one of the most ridiculous live shows I've ever seen. And I mean, even at Manson's age, it was impressive. And really, it took me aback. And I was really kind of in awe, you know. Sure, I mean, the music might not sound perfect, but it's not, at this point, it's not about sounding perfect. It's about, it's hard to explain. It's about him putting on the show that he's so good at putting on, and I was definitely impressed by it. I really liked watching Manson. Would I see him again? If I became more familiar with the music, yeah. I don't really know the music too well. I know The Beautiful People and a few other songs, but that's really about it. You know, if I became more familiar with it, I'd probably go see him again, but I'm definitely impressed by him. And last was Slipknot. I saw Slipknot, like I said, last year on the Summer's Last Stand tour with Lamb of God, and so I know Slipknot. I've known Slipknot for a while, and last year I really thought that they were really good. You know, I thought they were really outstanding, to tell you the truth, last year. You know, they played 20-something songs last year. This year they only played 17, 18, because they obviously wanted to give Manson the, not the co-headlining opportunity, but they wanted to give him more time. So, yeah, just some highlights from the set. You know, first and foremost, my initial thoughts on Slipknot, I thought they sounded awesome. Even with Corey Taylor's neck brace on, I honestly thought he sounded better this year than he did last year. Maybe that's because he wasn't jumping around as much, or, you know, stuff like that. But he sounded awesome. I mean, it's the best I've heard him in a while. I mean, he was doing The Devil and I, like, easy. I mean, he was hitting those high notes, like, I mean, he was hitting them like they were clockwork, and I was really impressed by that. Some other highlights. Negative One was a great song to open with. Heretic Anthem is always a great time. Pulse of the Maggots they played, which really was awesome because I am a big fan of Volume 3 Subliminal Verses. And so that was really cool to see Pulse of the Maggots be played. Obviously they played the staple hits like Psychosocial, Duality, you know, Spit It Out they ended with. But there were some ones that they haven't played in a while, you know, like Dead Memories they played. I was kind of bummed out that they didn't play This Blister Exists because they played that last time, but they had less time, and that's honestly, that's one of those songs where if you have less time, it's one of the ones you cut out. So, a few things about Slipknot. Yeah, they were really good this time. They were basically kind of the same as last time, but that doesn't mean that's a bad thing, because I was blown away by them last time, you know. They were really good. One thing I will say is that they're definitely, I won't say they're showing their age, but, I mean, they're getting older, and, you know, it's not apparent, but, I mean, they're getting older. And, I mean, just to give you an example, Sid Wilson was, you know, walking around, you know, the show with a cane. Well, it wasn't really a cane, but he was walking around with something that kind of looked like a cane, and I watched him take a really hard fall on stage, and he actually went off stage for a few songs and had to, you know, kind of heal back up before he could come back out and finish the set. So, you know, I mean, these aren't 20-year-old guys running around in jumpsuits anymore. You know, these are grown men in their 40s and even 50s. They're still trying to pull this off. And, you know, hey, congrats to them for trying and doing it, because they're, I mean, considering their age and considering how long they've been doing this, the fact that they can still, you know, be so aggressive and channel that energy is incredible. And yeah, I mean, Slipknot met my expectations, definitely. I did have high expectations for them because I've seen them before, and I mean, I do love their music. I grew up with it. And so, so yeah, I was definitely pleased by Slipknot. I mean, it was my second time seeing them. It's probably my last time. Not saying that because Slipknot was bad, because they were awesome. It's probably, you know, just because of the timing of you know, just their age, and because they said they might take kind of a hiatus, you know, all that good stuff. I think that it may be the last time I see them, but I'm not sure. Definitely a great show from them. Definitely really impressed. They ended pretty early though. Like they ended, I mean, the noise curfew around where I live is about 11 o'clock. They ended by like 10:30, which I was a little surprised by, but hey, it means I just get home earlier and get to bed earlier. So anyways, as a whole, really, really enjoyed this show. Thought it was a good time. Well worth the money. I think if you like any of these bands, you should definitely come check them out in your town. What I like is that there's a lot of diverse and different acts, but they each have a good amount of time that can be dedicated to their music. So it's not like the last show I went to with four bands. It was really crowded and all the sets were really short. But this show, there were three bands that were all really diverse, really different, and they had longer sets, which was really nice. And so if you're an Of Mice and Men fan, you can show up and you can watch a set and not feel like you're getting ripped off, which is nice. And if you're a Manson fan, definitely come out. I mean, it's a good time. And Slipknot, I mean, it speaks for itself. I mean, they put on an incredible show every time, and definitely impressed by them, and definitely impressed by Corey Taylor's vocals and how everything sounded. Definitely impressed by this show. Well worth the money. And yeah, if this comes to a town near you, definitely get tickets. Highly recommend. And yeah, so really good show. Thank you guys so much for watching. You all have a great rest of your night. Have a great rest of your summer.